On last week's episode, we traveled over to the crystal clear waters of the Bahamas, speared some really big pelagic fish. I got scared by some dolphins, and what we shot, we prepped, cooked up, and had for dinner. And here we go on day 2 of this epic trip.
So good.
Good morning, everybody. This is what I woke up to. All right, I made a little thing of coffee, but I have a little protein brownie. We're gonna keep it easy. Let's see what the guys are up to.
Dean's got the fire rocking.
Yeah, baby.
You know.
Let's see what coffee we got.
Ricky, how'd you sleep?
I slept pretty well.
Pretty well.
I slept really well.
Yeah.
Coffee, protein brownie. So I'm gonna go take a little walk. But we're gonna pack up camp, we're gonna clean everything up, and we're gonna send it offshore. And we'll see you guys out there.
Look at that. Not bad. Need a little bit of ice for my drink.
Look at those beautiful girls hanging out of school. They're schooling up in the cooler again.
All right. So trick.
I'm pretty sure it was a male and a
This
female.
stuff, dude.
Whoops.
Kids, banana boat. Stuff, oh wait, yeah, that. Stuff works really well. Goes on thick. And I just do my face because the rest of me is covered with a wetsuit. Look at that. And it doesn't make you tear. I know the spray stuff makes me tear, but usually just get this, back of my hands, a little bit of my neck in case I have my hood off. Alright, but we're gonna punch off.
Dean, are you gonna kill some fish today?
Yes, sir.
What did you kill yesterday?
African pompano.
And?
My first one.
And?
And he was nice.
Alright, we're punching off.
See you later, girls. See ya.
Alright, we're gonna start off nice and shallow. I think it's some like 10-foot stuff, and you'll see what lurks below, even just some shallow, easy diving stuff. It's really, you know, not how deep you go, it's where you go. A little fishy. Little fish never hurt nobody. All right, go time. Welcome back to the voiceovers, everybody. So because we are starting off shallow, I'm going to be using a different type of weapon to hunt with. I'm going to be using the Hawaiian Sling, and I'm going to be free shaft Hawaiian slinging. So we're only in about maybe 15, 20 feet of water, if that. Everybody else is using pole spears, but I wanted to give this Hawaiian Sling a try. And when you're diving the shallow stuff, that is when you want to use the Hawaiian Sling. It gives you a chance to shoot fish. You can chase the fish down easily whenever you go to retrieve your spear. It's not like you have to make a bunch of 60, 70-foot drops to, you know, just retrieve a spear. So, and usually when you're using this Hawaiian Sling, when you shoot it, ideally you want to retrieve your spear on the same dive and go get the fish on the same dive. Otherwise, you're going to have to make multiple drops. And when you're doing the sling, it's a good idea to have multiple people slinging so you both are working as a team. You see this place is teeming with life. Not a ton of huge fish. They're around, and you'll see in just a minute here. Scott makes a drop on this nice mutton out in the off the edge of it, and that's usually where these bigger fish hang out. And Scott lands a really good shot. You can see the prime example of the pole spear and how it's used, and he got a nice quality size mutton, and these guys hang out just outside the reef. Now that you guys watched the pole spear in action, now I get to show you the Hawaiian Sling. Now my target is that mangrove. You can see it's one of the bigger ones. Take a shot, and that guy dodged it. And when you're using this, the spear has to travel a little ways, so it's a good idea to to lead the fish, but this one was quartering just away and ended up dodging it because it was easy for him to quickly turn back the other way and avoid the spear. And if they're perfectly in front of you broadside, it's a much easier shot, and you'll see here in just a minute. But I go down, I did a blind drop. I was, you know, kind of, my idea was I was going to try to maybe shoot a fish. Maybe that'll bring in some action. Maybe bring in either a cubera or a mutton off from the edge of the reef. So I was going to pick the biggest mangrove I saw, take a shot at it. And all these are pretty much just barely over legal, but I wanted to go for a little bit bigger one. So go down, I did a little scratching, and when you hang out like this, when you know, are down there for a little while, the fish start to get comfortable. They start to, you know, not to think you're a threat, and then they just start to come in a little bit. And when you're using the Hawaiian Sling, it really makes you pick your shots well. And here I dialed in. You can see my kind of focus go on these fish. I let it just a little bit, and I was aiming probably right at its nose, and the spear went right in through the gill plate. And you see exactly how this thing works in action and how important it is to retrieve the fish on the same dive. And also an important thing is whenever you get a hold, like when you go to retrieve the fish, you want to make sure you are grabbing the fish, not just the spear, because these fish are very tender and they're powerful, and they'll just wrench right off of the spear and swim away with a big gaping hole in them, and which is something you want to avoid. But always brain, bleed, no matter the size of the fish, just to ensure the quality of the meat.
Dude, the fish are just giant.
I know, the mangroves are like 8-pounders, Spencer said.
I was trying to just fire something up.
So this shot is great. I have that other guy strung up on my spear. I kind of dive bombed this guy and landed a perfect stone shot. Grabbed both fish. I was pretty stoked on this. Whenever you know, achieve a feat like this, it makes you makes you know that you're a little dialed in with the Hawaiian Sling.
How sick was that? Nice, Ricky Bobby.
All right, that place was pretty amazing. Tons of life. I was trying to shoot something to kind of fire things up. Scotty got that nice mutton. Scott, what was your thought process when that mutton came in? You were like, I hope Jack doesn't snake it. Was that it?
I knew we were diving together, and I knew you were very generous and you were gonna let me shoot it. So I went down nice and slow, shot him in the face.
That's true. I was very generous. I even let you shoot that AP yesterday that I was 40 feet from. I was ready to let it fly. 40-foot shot with the pole spear? No, all day.
Almost had it.
All day. All right, but that was really fun. I love using the Hawaiian Sling, especially in shallow stuff like that. And that's where you really want to like practice and get good at it, because if you do miss, it's not like you have to surface, then make another dive. It's nice and easy. You can just shoot, go retrieve it. You can even shoot a couple times on one breath. Makes you really proficient. Lots of fun. And I can't believe I freaking I had that one strung up and I stoned that other one through the like just out of instinctual shooting. That was really fun. So, but we're gonna probably go to a little bit of deeper area. Probably gonna see some bigger fish. It's really fishy out here, man. That's a good thing. So we'll see you guys a little deeper and on a different spot.
So I don't run into you.
So now we're entering in a little bit deeper of a range, and that's whenever I switch to the pole spear. It's a much better idea. If you see a pelagic, you can shoot the fish and let them take off. If you haven't seen that video, after this one, definitely watch part 1. You'll see these pole spears in action, shooting big fish. But either way, and I should do a walkthrough of my pole spear setup, and I'll probably set up one of those. Comment below if you want to see my full setup, how I attach it to the belt reel, my bungee system, all that good stuff, because I have it pretty dialed in just through trial and error. But yeah, if you are curious about that, feel free to comment below. But on this dive, I just made a little quick drop. This is kind of a warm-up drop. Saw a nice turtle there. Really cool seeing the sea life, even if you don't spear something. So like on this drop, just go down, just searching around. And we didn't spend very much time here. We made a couple drops, looked around, didn't see any fish, not a ton of bait. So we decided to move farther down the reef and hope for a better spot. So we're still on the same reef line, but the reef line kind of fizzles out and it's more of reef patches. And if you're not seeing fish at one area of the reef, move. You're only limited to a certain amount of time in the day. You can keep diving the same spot and not see anything. Or what I've done is killer is dive an area, not see hardly anything, and then at the end of your trip, when you only have like an hour left, you hit a spot that's absolutely on fire. So peck around, move, don't spend too much time in one spot. And like this one, this was not even that fishy on this spot either. It was same thing, a little bit more of a bigger patchy area, which seems to see a lot of pressure, but I was hoping for maybe some kind of yellowfin grouper or a black grouper under one of these holes on these edges. And I think I'm at like 75, 73 feet, something like that once I get to the sand. See those mangroves? Those are decent mangroves. Was thinking about shooting them, but I just figured I'd peck around this the edge of this reef. And sure enough, here comes some yellow jacks. Did a little grunting. I was trying to go for the stone shot. If I went a little higher, I probably would have stoned him. But also that's a high risk of a tear out. So if you do not stone the fish and you did shoot it high, there's a lot of meat up in that upper part of the fish, and there's a high chance of it ripping out, as opposed to, you know, a dead center shot in the gill plate is more of a sure thing. But yeah, got another yellow jack. These things are great sashimi, and you saw that pole spear in action.
Okay, we go to SP9.
So when you're gutting these fish, a lot of fear is, you know, people are worried, or bleeding them. A lot of people's worry are sharks, and it's very unlikely the shark is going to just straight up bombard you and, you know, attack you for no reason. Usually the fish is squirming around a lot, and that's what the main thing I do is I brain the fish immediately. Sometimes even before I get to the surface, I'm trying to brain that fish. That way he stops shaking and quivering, because that really fires up the shark. Any other movement from humans is kind of unnatural and doesn't really trigger sharks unless you're swimming frantically. But this guy kind of followed me a little bit, but he ended up kind of backing off once I got to the boat and didn't give me any problems. But we kind of kept drifting along this reef edge, and there was this black grouper just bouncing from hole to hole. People were making drops, and this guy just kept going from different hole to different hole, and he went in this little cave system here under this patch. And now Scott chased him all the way to this hole, and I knew he went in this little, you know, kind of crack right here. And as I load up, I see his nose, but I don't want to go out. I want to kind of use the cave to hide me, and then once I get closer, I kind of sneak over and then land a good headshot. And once they see you, if they see you from a distance closing in on them, they start to get a little worried. So if you can hide using the reef, using the edge of the hole, hide, and then once you're loaded up, nice and straight, pointing at the fish, then you kind of ease out to where you start seeing more body of the grouper, and that's when you take your shot. And I did that on this guy. First grouper we got, it was a good eating size one. You'll hear us talk about it multiple times. But yeah, really happy on this guy. And I think that dive was like around 70, 72 feet, something like that. But yeah, pretty stoked.
Perfect eating size. This is a good little fish head soup.
That thing was smart.
I know, man. He was giving us a run. Pretty. Hey, I'm gonna gut him. Guys, eyes peeled. Eyes peeled, I'm gonna gut him. There were big muttons, and I saw a big cubera. Do we want to, you want me to gut him now?
The current's ripping by the time those guts sink, they're 2 miles.
Nice one. That's like perfect fish head soup size. Yeah, that's a really good guy. There's one that was just a little bit bigger than that. That would have been a little bit better. But take it. Ricky, you want me to drive, or you want to skin dive?
I think I'm I don't know, I think I'm good.
Diving at 70 will kill you, dude.
The area we're diving now is a little bit more structured. There's going to be a lot more fish, but also when you have that, there's a lot more places for the fish to hide, for them to dart off to, and the cave systems on these reefs are insane. So I made a drop because I saw some big dog snapper down there in these cracks. You can see them in right middle of the screen. There was a giant one off to the left. There's also a shark off to the left. I know this area is known for sharks, so I need to pick my battles here. I wasn't gonna get wedged in the crack, but this guy poked out, and I did a little grunting because I knew he was under there, and I did the grunting to hoping it would kind of shoot him out, and I was ready for him, which that's exactly what happened. He was a little on edge, but I ended up shooting him on the run, and thank God Scott was down there, because those sharks, when you have the fish squirming around like that, that's when they really get fired up, and that's when bad things can happen. So either have another dive down there with his head on his swivel, or just grab the fish and get a hold of him real tight so he doesn't do any more squirming.
Got a dog. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I saw that shark. I see it.
Yeah, it wasn't big. There's a scamp right next to you.
These guys are full of blood, and I'm just giving you a little quick run through on how I same thing, brain, bleed, gut, and yeah, these dog snapper, they have a really, really thick bloodline, so if you can bleed them, that helps out a ton. Also, I'm going to show you how I gut them, and when you're doing that, it's a good idea because you can bring in a lot of fish on the guts, and it uses, kind of seconds as chum. And you'll see how another way you can get these pole spear slip tips out is feed them back through the way they came in. So you'll see me, this one shot, it didn't go all the way through, but it went into the gut cavity. So I reached into the gut cavity, turned the slip tip around, and just pushed it out the other side, and then let my pole spear dangle down since it's on a belt reel. That's a little hack if you want to try using that. I think it's easier than having to take the whole spear tip off, if you can do that, but you can't do it every time.
Yeah, dude. There was a bigger one, like twice the size, but that one gave me an easy shot right through the meat. I'm gonna let this chum run out, and then I'll swap with you, all right?
Now we go back to the patchy reef area. The reef kind of ran out, but that's not the end of the world. When the reef runs out, usually, less grouper are around, but there are a high chance of seeing hogfish and muttons. So on this dive, you can see to the left of this center of the screen, there's a big mutton off in the distance. Very distinct from the surface. If he looks decent from the surface, he's going to be of quality size. And I don't go to him, but I go kind of straight down, and he veers towards me. And once he starts veering towards me, I know he's interested, and that's whenever I kind of go towards him, which I honestly probably could have waited a little longer. And I landed a good tail shot, and unfortunately it wasn't enough to stick through and hold, but the fish was really messed up. And normally they would just dart off of the reef, but I could tell this guy was looking to hide. And when that happens, I don't take my eyes off of him. Even when I get to the surface, I don't even lift my head out of the water. I keep my head in the water. I put my snorkel in my mouth just so I don't lose sight of this fish, because I know he's gonna hide somewhere, and if you take your eyes off of them just for a split second, they'll disappear, and you'll have absolutely no idea because they can go in any hole. So I get to the surface, do a little breathe up, and I saw where this guy hid. He was hiding in a fan. You'll see it a little bit better whenever I get down to the bottom. But I start going down, and this mutton, like, you just have to wait for them to stop. They'll honestly, so you can see him at the top of that little fan. He was kind of hanging around this little area, and I know he's in that fan, but I can't see him. And then once I finally make out his body, I shoot and I totally whiff. So this guy keeps going. I'm hoping, see, I reload. I'm hoping he just sits there in that little cave, but he didn't do it. And once he did that, I knew he was just going to do some more traveling. So I do the same exact thing, go up with my head on the fish the whole time. And it's funny because Scott is up at the surface with me, and we don't even need to say anything to each other. He ends up knowing exactly what I'm doing, and he decides to, now that I'm out of breath at the surface, he decides to make a drop once that fish stops. And at this point, it's not about, oh, you know, I want to get the fish, I did it all by myself. It's a buddy thing, and it comes to the point of, you know, you don't want to leave an injured fish behind. So if anybody can get a shot in that injured fish, it's a win. So Scott went down, made a really good face shot on this fish, and I was stoked because it was probably the biggest mutton I got of the day, and it was definitely teamwork that got it done.
Thank you. That thing was kicking my ass. It was kicking my ass.
He took his motor out for sure.
I know, dude. I know he was hurt bad.
And yeah, if you're new to diving, if you can help out any way whenever somebody has a fish in their hands, hand them a knife so they're not fiddling with theirs. Makes it easier to brain bleed, gut, all that good stuff. And yeah, this was a good teamwork fish, 100%.
Thank you, God. Dude, he gave me a layup in that fan, and I could hardly see him, and then I like finally made out his body, and I shot, and I guess my spear wasn't fully turned, and it just kicked, or I just plain out whiffed. All right, you guys, we just finished up diving. Had a really, really good second day. Check this out. Look what we got into. This is the aftermath. Good quality fish. Only one black, couple of pelagics, some nice finish with that mutton. And I'll tell you, that mutton gave me a run for my money. I took out his motor, and then I lost him in that fan. I was looking for like a white colored mutton when I went down to that fan, and he completely changed colors into brown, and he matched the fan, and I didn't see him until last minute, and my spear was right on him, so I just let it fly, and I totally whiffed. But luckily, that's why we buddy dive. I got to the surface. Scott went down. He knew the situation, and he put that backup shot in. Solid cheek shot. Dude, you messed up the cheek meat. I'm just kidding. No, it was like a perfect, like, didn't touch the meat shot. You guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I love island camping, island hopping, and just going completely off the grid like that. If you haven't done that, definitely, I highly suggest trying it. See if there's any remote island stuff that you guys can do, or beach camping. It is so fun getting in tune with nature and just enjoying that wild side. But if you guys are new to the channel, go ahead and give it that thumbs up, subscribe for free. I drop a video every Monday. If you enjoyed this, give it the thumbs up, comment if you have any questions, and I'll see you guys next week for another adventure. Later.